Hi, my name is Simon Dallmeier. I'm a sports editor working at BILD in Berlin, and today we are talking about the controversies surrounding the World Cup in Qatar, especially concerning issues like homophobia. Are you surprised by the statements made by Gianni Infantino, or Qatar's World Cup official, who described homosexuality as a damage in the mind? I was really shocked, because I wouldn't have thought that such an official on such a high level would feel comfortable enough to say these words. Homophobia, also misogyny, you could never say that this is a cultural difference. It's just a damage in their minds. I felt very angry. And I felt the need that I needed to do something, which is why I'm here now. What comes to your mind when you read the statement from FIFA President Gianni Infantino? Football, especially the World Cup, is the biggest sports stage in the world next to the Olympics. When you're taking part in there will always be different nations with different values, with different governments and systems. Human rights is general law that all the nations in the world accepted, and you have to stick to those human rights. Yes, queer rights, female rights, disabled rights, they're all human rights. And for that, it is very important that countries like Germany are raising an awareness to that. What advice would you give to closeted queer people who are enthusiastic about sports but are afraid of negative reactions within their sport community, their soccer club, etc.? Being a gay football enthusiast myself, who also played in a football club before as a teenager, but then also later as an adult, I can only say honesty is always the best way to go. You are more open about yourself and your personality, which is, in my opinion, always a big plus also for your teammates, because it makes you so much more relaxed and also your teammates more open-minded. So yeah, I can just always say, be open and be honest about your sexuality. Do you feel a change in the mindset of the football scene towards queer people? Yes, I do. In Europe, but also in North America, you can see that fans are so much more open towards gay people. There are active fan scenes who support queer people. When it comes to club officials, I would say they have to be more offensive, less defensive about that topic. It's mostly because they're afraid of losing sponsors from areas where it might not be as accepted to be gay, to be queer, as it is in Germany. My wish would be, especially for club officials, to speak up more. Do you think the soccer shooting stars in our German team are only participating or looking away because they mostly live in heteronormative structures, or may not have any friends or family members who are queer? Well, I don't know about the private lives of German shooting stars. What I can tell is that players like Leon Goretzka, as you could see in the last European Championship, he spoke up. He showed a sign of support towards the queer community when he celebrated his goal against Hungary with a heart. I wouldn't say they are looking away, especially the younger players. They are getting there that it's just a regular part of society that there are queer people. I asked that question myself for almost the whole year now. Until a few days before the tournament, I wasn't really sure if I want to take part on the news coverage. Working at BILD, you have a very loud voice in the German media. And for me, it was always important, as a gay man, to be one of the voices who actually do something about changing this whole system that FIFA created. We need to do something, we have to do something. I don't want to convince people, but I actually want people to feel for the queer community, and by that, make them support also the queer community. Do you think there should be some kind of code of conduct at FIFA? Well, the funny thing is, I think such a code of conduct does already exist. For example, Qatar had to prove they have a female team, a female national team. They kind of disappeared. That is the bigotry at FIFA, that you have to prove at some point that you support queer people, that you support women, that you support disabled people, but it's just for that period of the selection that this is actually being supported, and after that, it's just being forgotten again. This code of conduct should be reinforced much, much more strongly in the future, so that homophobic and misogynist governments like the Qatari government won't be able again to host a World Cup. In Germany, we have a good foundation for supporting queer people in football more and more. The problem is the rest of the world. There are still so many countries who send queer people to prison, who have a death sentence on just being gay, who stone people to death for just being who they are. Of course, we have to look into our own country first, but there has to be a change worldwide. What goes through your mind when you read that many people want to boycott the World Cup, but you also see that tickets to World Cup games are almost sold out? The interesting fact is that the World Cup outside of Europe and North America is actually being seen as quite positive. I can understand. I don't really support it. It's because it means that all these people, no matter where they are coming from, are supporting this system financially. And it also means that sponsors won't get afraid that they might lose money. And in the end, that's the most efficient means. It was never an option to me to be part of the World Cup in Qatar itself. As an openly gay man, what do you expect from an organization like FIFA, which, as many people find, does not express itself sufficiently or only very questionably on such topics? You know, the thing is, FIFA is such a big machinery of old white people that it is very, very difficult to actually change something about FIFA. And the only thing that we can do is show them in a very, very clear way that a big part of the world doesn't support their system anymore. And then we can talk about also the FIFA being more honest about their so-called values. They always claim inclusiveness, respect, empty words. They actually have to mean it, and they actually have to do something about it so that in the future people will start believing them again, or they won't. And then maybe there has to be another organization.